Well, want to welcome everyone to our ARC training time. I'm John Tarleton with Junction Property Management. We're going to be going over what the Architectural Committee sees, what the processes they need to take, and how we get architectural approval to a homeowner who's made a request. So the first step, obviously, is through either the portal or an email. The owner makes a request to the Architectural Committee. What we really like to make sure we get are all the specs on what the work's going to be done. How is it going to be handled? How is it going to be, what the material is going to look like? What are the colors? We're getting to the point where we're actually starting to require a site survey from like when the person bought the house so that they can show us where the items they're going to be adding or changing are going to be attached. Obviously, if it's a paint color or a roof change, the site survey is not really necessary. But when you do additions, that really does help everybody understand where things are going to go in relation to things. One of the things that we have also learned over time is that if someone's talking about a shed installation, we also not only want to worry about length and width, but we also want to worry about that height. Anything that's going to have any kind of height, we want to know how far above the fence line it's going to go. That way, you guys that are on the committee will be able to know: am I okay with a 15-foot tall shed standing over a 6-foot fence? That might not look great. So, those types of things. And that way the committee can make those decisions. So we will, with that, I think Anna is online. Anna, is it okay if I use your account to show this?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. So what I've done is I've mimicked Anna's accounts. That way we see exactly how this goes. And I'm going to share my screen. And it is this. Okay. And can y'all see here? It says hello to the Stovers. Okay. So when you log in to your portal, you get on your portal page. The items here at the top, these three dash lines, give you your side menu. The side menu, then you drop down to board actions. And this is where you, as the architectural committee, will be able to see the items that you can access. You're specifically today, we're talking about the architectural items. So we click ARC and it brings up the open requests, and we have 2 of them. And you can see here, we've got the actual notes from the owner have been loaded in. I'm sorry, say again. Okay, so we have the actual notes from the owner loaded into the system. We have what they're going to be doing, who's requested it, what the address is, and where we stand in the process. Since this one has a red dot, this means it's getting a little bit old. So let's go ahead and look at this one first. When you're in the system, across the top, you've got the steps, due dates, any of this information we filled in. You can sort by this. If you end up with a long list of items and you're looking for Bob Smith, you can actually sort by Bob Smith and it'll pop up that way. It'll also show if there's any attachments and what actions you can do. To view the actual request, you click the eyeball and you can see this is where the request came in and where we've gone each step with it. So when they brought it in, they brought in the request, and each comment is then added into this chain. So that way there's a record of all the messages that happen with the review. Okay. Go back here. These 3 dots give you options on sending a message to either the committee, the manager, or even the homeowner if there's some other information you're looking for. And when you click on that, it actually just pops up what looks like a bit of an email, and you can decide, send it to the manager, which will get that information back. You can add attachments if you're wanting to add some different things, and then of course you send the message. That will show up in the Vantaca system for us, and we will be able to see what all is happening, what questions you may have. Hey, can you please find out from them what color the roof shingles are going to be on the gazebo or whatever. So it works out pretty handy. If there are attachments, that's where this paperclip comes into play. So on the paperclip, if you click on it, it actually will list out all of the attachments they've sent. So if it should show them. This one didn't attach apparently. So that way you can see, if they've given you a drawing, if they've given you a front or a side elevations, if they've given you the survey like we talked about, you'll be able to see all of those attachments. So once you've reviewed these things, you can then go in and you get to make a decision on each step. Um, these are the open items. Yeah, these are the ones that are open. Okay. Trying to get to where you can actually vote on this. Where's the vote part? Okay, right here. So you go back to the eyeball, and this is for the citing. And then you can type your messages in here, and this will send it to, you have to select to send to the manager. If you decide that this is an acceptable one that they would, where it says we're replacing the siding on a home due to rot and water leak in the house through the chimney and other parts, we would not be making any change to the look or feel of the home. We want to replace with similar color, no change is expected. The material will be using hardy instead of what they have right now to match the existing rest. Our work order is to start soon to avoid further leaks, and they'll complete it in 10 days, which is good to know. We are not expecting any overall changes to the look of the home. Currently, the siding is rotted in multiple areas. Okay, so you can see, all of their message there. And then you can go in and actually, if you read, once you read all the items here, and anytime you see a paperclip through this listing, you can click on that and it will give you other items. Okay, so here it's trying to get me to open this file. Let me see what this file looks like. This is a Word doc that they sent, and it's the scope of work. So I'm just going to drag it over here to the screen so you can see it real quick. And you can see where they've added in the scope of work that they're doing. This talks about the materials, the type of materials, the colors, how much it's expected to cost them, and then the completion of the work, and then any comments that they might have. A lot of times people will load in the actual bid so you can see the work that they're doing, and that's what this is apparently the contract that they did there. Because it was an actual file, that's why it would not open under the attachments issues that we did. Okay, so any questions so far?
Yes, this is Anna. Okay, yeah, I'm off mute. You've mentioned that we could send an email to the architectural committee, to the homeowner, or to the manager.
Yes.
But the only drop down that I'm seeing is to the
To the
manager.
manager, yes. And we will have to add that in here to be able to send to, because it should automatically come back to the rest of the committee. That way everybody sees that somebody else has voted. That's how we also get everybody else to vote as well. Okay.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Sorry, you're saying you would add that, so
Yeah, we just need to
there
go
be one
into,
that says manager plus committee, or?
correct. That way, when you hit the drop down, there'll be some additional things that you could put there. It might be best to go ahead and have any messages to the homeowner go back through your manager. That way they can have a sequence of events and not have the one owner or one committee member asking a question of the owner and no one else realize that they're doing that. So that way we can all share those information. So anything there. So we'll get this changed so that the manager and the committee can get emails back and forth to each other in this system.
So if we want to send, because our previous system, there was one where we could communicate basically within the portal with the homeowners. So
that's right.
The homeowner would get the question, not really know who it was from on the committee. They could answer it on the portal, and it was all visible to all members and all of that.
Yeah. And by doing it the way what I had mentioned, by having it come back to the manager and letting them get that answer for you, it will make sure that your information is not flowing out to the owners.
Okay. So if we have a question for the owner, we'll just say question for the owner,
correct.
Correct. And then, and that should go to
the manager.
The whole committee also needs to see anything that we're asking, because we don't want to double up.
Usually when you do these drop downs, you can select more than one. So we'll work on getting that done. So, so Anna, if you've read this and you think that it's great, then you can say, I approve. And when you send the message, it'll show up in the list. I'm not going to send this right now because I don't want that to do that. So what it also does is when we get that, it sends an email to your community manager, in this case, Johan, who will then know, okay, someone's voted. He can go back in and look. He goes, okay, well, that's one. And so as we process through this, when we get all the votes, then what he will do on our side of the system is he will come over and select to step that item to architectural approval, follow-up requested, denial, or approved with conditions. Okay.
Okay.
Once he does that, it sets up the step for it to move into then approved with conditions, or deny application. And that's where it sends the actual letter to the homeowners themselves. And that way.
And the approve with conditions is like, if we want to say, yeah, we approve this, assuming you're going to follow this instruction, and we can attach something that's from the community covenants.
That's right. Or you could even say approved, provided you only use weatherwood shingles on the roof, or whatever those requirements might be. Approved, provided you properly screen the pool equipment. We have a community that we were just talking with that they are very specific about making sure the pool equipment is properly screened and not visible from the street. So, you could actually put those in there if it doesn't show that on a drawing as something that's to be done, but you may also want to reiterate that. We have one community that says approved, provided that the owner gets a permit from the city. So, you just have to look and see what those things are. You can make those conditions, and you can just put those in that message here when you type it up to the committee. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. That kind of avoids some back and forth. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Now, when you do, because this is being done, electronically, we are somewhat required to make sure we get all of you to vote. So it is important we hear from everyone. And if for some reason you cannot make a decision electronically to all either say yes or all say no, then Johan would have to get a quick meeting, something similar to this, so we get everybody together in online. The state law requires work done via electronic means to be unanimous one way or the other. They don't allow split votes. So we would definitely want to make sure that we've got everybody on the same page. They require that for the boards of directors, but we also have stretched that out to the committees. That way there's no question that, Bob and Sally liked that person, but the other person kind of fell out, kind of thing.
Don't we have it in ours that it's two out of the three on the architectural committee?
State law requires unanimous consent on electronic decisions.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard that, but I mean, that should be,
yeah,
I guess we can get there. It's just a matter of someone's out, but we have 30 days for each one of these.
Typically you do have 30
Right.
days. So, so like on this particular one here, that's got the red dot, we want to look at that one.
Well, let me ask if there's a split decision where, some hypothetical situation where we've got two people approving and one denying. I get that the state law says that electronic means, but I thought our HOA thing states 2 out of the 3.
In the hierarchy of documents, state law overrides anything that you have in the declaration.
Okay, but if we were to go a manual process for something like that, would that override?
Exactly. If we were to do this kind of a meeting, then the 2 out of 3 would be enough to approve it.
Okay, so that still stands. We just got to go to a different route. We can't go electronic.
That's right. That's right. And that is a transparency issue that they want to make sure that you just didn't get a couple of people that got together and sent in a quick email without everybody getting a chance to evaluate the question at hand. So I'll work through that. Well, that is the nuts and bolts of the system. It's actually quite simple. And so all you have to do is make your comment, and whether you approve or not, and then that will move forward. Any other questions on the way the program works? Once you've voted, you can push this little circle right here, which is a refresh button, and it will refresh the page, and then should refresh any comments that you put under the eyeball look as well.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Like any email we sent, it'll show up.
Correct. You would put okay, so now we've got your committee and stuff are added here as well. So you could select this, go to the manager and to the committee, and both would get the answer or the question. So you might say, can we get the type and size of trees?
Yeah, with this one particular, I guess you could do approved on the condition that it meets the whatever diameter that's in our guidelines requirement.
You can, or you can request the information, and that
Right.
we get them to commit to it in writing of what they're going to do.
Yeah, okay.
You see, that's the reason for this. So you make this question, and I can do this now. And if so, I'll send this, and now it shows up that this came through Anna, and this shows up on their list. So if you guys were to log in and look at this, you would be able to see this as well.
Oh, it's actually,
So it's really a simple system just to go in and do your approval or your denial in the message. And when that comes back, then we keep track of that, and then we'll do the final approvals and send those letters out. So when this comes in, Johan would see this, he would reach out to the homeowner, and then he would send that out to them and say, okay, with the committee is asking to know what type of trees you're planning on planting and what size, since the documents require a minimum of 3-inch caliper trees.
right, okay.
Okay. And then he would report that back in through this system, and you guys should all get emails about that happening as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got the email,
With the question.
with that
That's right.
that message. Yeah.
So yeah, every time something happens here, the way it's designed is that you can log into the system and add things to it, or in that email, there's a section there you can type in questions or responses, and it will put it in with this system as well. So you can answer it even if you can't get into the system, but you've got your email handy. Anything else, since I'm recording this, is there anything else on the architectural question? Okay, if not, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to stop the recording.